Okay, hi everyone. This is a quick recording to explain the meal plans that you will get with the pack that you bought with Isogenics. And our goal is really to optimize knowledge transfer and on nutrition itself, but just overall well-being fundamental principles that you can apply and that will certainly benefit your experience with the product. So there'll be two parts to this video. I first off explain really quickly how to read your plan, your menu. But the second part to this video is really what's important. This is where we cover fundamental principle behind health, wellness, longevity, resistance to illness, so on and so forth. And this goes way above the importance of a meal plan, because once you uncover those principles and you apply it, you can come up with 24 version of that menu of yours and really create something that you enjoy around your own goals and preferences. So just quickly, this first part is really just to explain how to read the plan. There's various meal options here, breakfast, lunch, snacks. You could have a snacks between breakfast and lunch. This is up to you. This is really just a guide. This is certainly not something you have to follow. The meal options are here. So there's 1, 2, 3. Obviously, you don't take the 3 options. You select the one that you'd like. The macronutrients is the third column, and this is where we explain that P is for protein, C is for carbs, F is for fats. You will always have protein, fat, and carbs in your plate. So it's just a matter of ratios, and now you split those macronutrients. This is really the fourth column is really where we explain the food options, and the details is really a quick snapshot of serving size. Obviously, this is something that doesn't apply to anyone and everyone. If a 280-pound monster looks at that, he or she will probably want to change the serving size to account for lean muscle mass. Same thing applies to the 90-pound lady who's 86 years old. She will want to adjust the serving size. The good news is you don't need to count the weight. Food, there's a control system that's much more reliable, and we'll explain that into the second part of that video. Just to mention again how to read this menu there, any options that you take, Isogenics, any supplements, will be highlighted in yellow. Okay, and these are located specifically in the menu based on when you should take them. Okay, so that's pretty clear. There'll be meal replacements, there'll be some vitamins or thermogenesis formulas that you can take in the morning. Ionic Supreme is one of them. So depending on your pack, some of these supplements might not apply. This is a common a statement that applies for any types of menu, but your menu will be based on your preference, on your selection, and this is really just targeting the way to read the menu. So anywhere where there's highlighted text in yellow, there's either a shake or a supplement. You see on the right here, there's a kind of schematic that explains how to do detox and cleansing with the intermittent fasting. So we use the approach where we start off the fast after dinner. You start the clock, and then you apply the 24-hour cleansing window after supper, let's say 6 o'clock, and then you start counting up to the next day, supper, dinner again. So this has allowed a lot of people to face and challenge and embark on that journey without being too intimidated or without having to go a full day without eating. So this has proven really beneficial for our team, certainly, and possibly your own venture. So you would have a cleansing formula before bed, upon waking up, one late afternoon, late mid-morning or late morning, and then one early afternoon, 4 ounce each serving. And then you can actually use small snacks in the menu, or chewables, Eyes of the Lights, or Whey Tins as part of your strategy. So again, just if you look at the whole thing there's always different options. You can read the food options there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Whenever there is a meal option where there's a name on the bracket, it means that there's a recipe assigned to it. So I'll be showing you in the second part a really long list of different recipes that really sustain and support your either weight loss goal, energy goal, performance goals. So this is also to be considered. And over, or should I say, separate from the actual menu, down below there's a separate snack that you can use post-workout, and there's also certain supplements you can use intra-workout. Anyone that has a performance pack, you will see a lot more details around pre, intra, and post-workout meals and supplements, because really the performance pack is really targeting optimizing that experience in the gym. So in this case, this is a 30-day system. You have some amp hydrates, and then what you do immediately after workout, you take a snack. So now you can place this snack wherever in your day. It doesn't have to be at night, but depending when you train, just make sure to have that post-workout snack, and then you continue on the menu as you proceed with your day. So that's in a nutshell what's out there in the menu, and there's additional clarification at the top, which basically says if you can minimize the use of starchy carbs over dinner, because there's a few options there, on days you're not training. And to be honest, on any given day, I try to minimize these, but this is just to keep in mind that some of the meal options have starchy carbs options available. You can actually get rid of those when you're not doing any weight training per se. So that's the other part of it. So that's in a nutshell how to read the menu. Now we'll go into the second video where we explain fundamental principles, and this is really the important aspect. And also, before leaving here, just to mention that there's a second page where you can actually see a complete list of options for protein, for carbs, for fats, beverages, fruits, condiments, sweeteners, spices, legumes, substitute. So this is really a complete and comprehensive list of different food options that you can actually interchange in the menu. If you're seeing something like beef tenderloin, you don't like that, well, you can actually go in that list, and it helps you stir your memory as far as options. And so this is really a go-to place to see different options you can interchange in your menu. So that's pretty much it. Now the second part will come. So thanks for watching. And again, as I'll say later on, if there's any questions, you can actually ask your partner or whoever introduced you to the menu, or share your questions on the platform where you'll see this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Okay, so this is the second part of the video recording on meal plans, and I think this is really important to go over some of those slides. Please take the time to review that stuff, because again, over and above meal plans, there's concepts and principles that will carry you through the tough times, or carry you through decision-making process at the grocery store, in front of the all-you-can-eat buffet, or when you're in trouble like McDonald's. There's always healthy alternatives. And if we're able to impart some of that knowledge on you there, instead of just blindly following a menu, you get to have much more power over, much more control over your destiny. So bear with me, that's going to be roughly 10 minutes long. I tend to, go overboard sometimes because I'm really passionate, but really the point will get across. So first thing is, if I had to summarize in one slide what we should be eating, what you should be feeding your Ferrari, which is your body, that's what you see right there in that slide. So what you see there is a lot of color, a lot of unprocessed foods. There's no transformation much from what you see in Mother Nature. So healthy fats, avocado, eggs, a lot of greens, meat, fish, and I would throw in there as well fruits, small fruits specifically. Now, it's kind of tough to maintain that sort of lifestyle, right? To have access to that food, whether you're traveling or just through logistics or your crazy schedule. This is the idea. This is the gas you want to pump in your engine, and this is what we were designed to uptake. So again, just like your Ferrari, you wouldn't be putting in the wrong types of fuel in there just to make sure you maintain the engine properly. Same thing, same concept. That's why we then go to certain solutions, fortified nutrition solutions, to help out maintain that lifestyle. And just to be clear, you just have to follow this 80% of the time, right? If you can think about your 80 and 20% ratio, you do whatever you want during the 20% of the time, whether it's on, a day, a week, or something. But the other 80%, you need to go back to that concept and that foundation, and you'll be extremely surprised how quickly your body gives you encouragement to continue on, because you'll see positive benefits big time. We use protein, we use various product to help out, kind of maintain the lifestyle, knowing we need easy solutions. We're lacking time and discipline. And we're also navigating in an ocean of temptation and distraction, because really the food industry doesn't give a rat about your health. It's out there to give you instant pleasure, to give you instant gratification, and to really make you addicted to various products. That's how you make money these days. So this is just to keep in mind. And the 4 evil food source that you need to keep in mind are cereal grains. That's one of the worst of them all. Refined sugars, as we know. And these are not necessarily your candies and maple syrup. I mean, these are they're in tomato paste. They're in condiments. They're all over the place, right? Where you probably don't even think they're sugars. Milk product, there's something really wrong about us drinking the milk of another animal. If you look Discovery Channel, you see an elephant drinking milk from a horse, for example. You'll probably laugh your life away for a number of days. Imagine us doing that, not only in our youth as a baby, but as we grow up. This is extremely abnormal, and it's causing lots of grief. Artificial sweeteners, since we're now a bit more sensitive to sugars, manufacturers are providing artificial sweeteners, which are causing even more grief, because they're tricking the body and thinking it's sugar, when in fact it's not, and it's causing a number of issues. So, key concept. People think of energy as carbs. I want to play soccer, I'll take a banana and a rice cake or yogurt. We think that having energy is about eating pasta, right? To get that sustained source of energy for soccer, practice, whatever. What you see there on the screen is really the composition of your fuel tank as far as energy on your body. And this is not to pick on anyone in particular, this is an average. 95% of your fuel tank is really composed of lipids. That's through your body, your tissue, your organs. And really only 5% comes from carbs, glycogen stores in your sugar, liver, and muscles. And carbs, the thing is we need it for fast acting energy. If a saber-toothed tiger were to run after you, you don't have the time to metabolize lipids, you're gone, right? By the time you get oxidation of lipids and you get energy in your mitochondria and your cells, you're gone. So sugar is important, certainly important for someone that does a marathon or wants to climb Mount Everest, but most of us, 99.9%, we don't need much carbs. And the thing about carbs is when you burn carbs in your fuel engine, in your furnace, your body, it creates lots of pollution. So remember that carbs actually make you age. They create what's called reactive oxygen species, and the purpose of these is really to steal away electrons and matter to your cells, so your cell degrade and your cells start to die. So this is the very process at which, when we lose the battle against that, we end up dying, right? That's the oxidation, a bit like metal rusting outside it, in oxygen and with some rain and oxygen. Same thing happens with us with carbs and other forms of pollution. Lipids, on the other hand, it's really abundant, and it's a clean source of energy. So it's like renewable source of energy. So if you want to live long, think about fat as a source of energy. They used to say you are what you eat, and now we've changed the phrase to we are what we digest, because really what we're finding out in research is that whatever happens in your gut, specifically in your intestine, is really controlling about every parts of your body, starting with the brain. And they saw in research that if you cut out the vagus nerve, basically cutting out the influx or communication between the intestine and the brain actually works on its own, right? It has its own brain, its own computer control system. So what we're finding out is if you can actually create a healthy environment in your gut, you get to enjoy the benefit mentally, physically, in terms of your joint, hormone level, energy level, resistance to bacteria, resistance to autoimmune disease. The list goes on and on. So what does that mean is your fate as far as health, losing weight, building muscle, longevity, resisting to Alzheimer's disease or Crohn's disease is really, really heavily influenced by your daily choices. This is profound and powerful, if you ask me. One of the things that we encourage in our system is cellular cleansing. This is a tough one for me in English. And what does that do? As the pictures suggest, it basically cleans the tubing in your body, cleans the cells. So if you were to not do any oil change on your car or just leave your plumbing at home just all with all sorts of dirt in there, whatever water you put in there, it might be the best source, the purest form of water, whatever comes out will be crappy. So if your cells are in an environment that's toxic and they don't communicate well with each other, they then become your organs, your system starts to misbehave, energy level drops, your mood declines, your ability to sustain viruses or resist bacteria goes down big time. So one of the things they do in functional medicine as a first step to treat, diagnose, treat some of the worst illnesses out there is to cleanse the body, remove the toxins. So you see some of the major toxins out there, which is plastics, air pollutants, heavy metal, pesticide, insecticide. So look around you as you watch the video, check how much plastic there is in heavy metal. So these are major showstoppers, and they affect your brain chemistry, they affect your energy, and they affect your ability to lose weight. The toxic body is actually weight that's going to promote fat deposit. So we combine cleansing, which is basically an array of specific plant compounds, polyphenols and various botanical to help your liver get rid of all those toxins. And we use a fast 24-hour fast where we cleanse. We use that formula, and we have a drink, an isogenics, that basically gives you all of what you need to help rid your body of those toxins, and it helps your body recharge, clean itself, and it certainly teaches your body as well. Really an important value is to continue to work, continue to be productive without having glycogen stores to tap into. So what does it do? You start to teach your body to use alternate source of energy, which is mostly fat. So the combined cleansing and fasting is absolutely marvelous. We've had so much success stories on that. What happens is people lose inflammation, lose the water retention really quickly. They get their brain chemistry back in order, because I tell you, arsenic or lead or aluminum in your brain, you are sure to be depressed. You're sure to be, have a mental fogginess. I'm not even sure that's a word, but you won't have clear ideas or an ability to think and to synthesize information very well. Heavy metals don't have a place in your brain. They're not supposed to be there anywhere else in your body for that matter. So this is one of the key foundation to our nutritional system, is you clean the tubing and then you get some healthy food in there so that the cells are capable of absorbing it, because they're not swamped with toxicities. This is the food pyramid we should have been taught at school. The one I've been taught was, the first step was cereal grains, all grains, right? 8 to 12 servings, whether it's cereal, wheat, the toast and all that stuff. And this was really controlled by the industry, who was looking to sell you milk, and they were also looking to sell you wheat, rye and barley and all of the above, because they know that the best way to sell is to create addictions. And you will never see anyone addicted to avocado or chicken. Never saw, never heard of someone addicted to broccoli, asparagus. So that's case in point being made there is the industry has driven the Health Canada and in other countries some of the guidance for youth and what they teach in school. So this is really what the pyramid should looks like. Mother Nature has really put most of the minerals, vitamin, cofactors in vegetables, okay? And this is the boring part because most of us don't really enjoy vegetables. Protein source, of course, this should be something you have at each meal. Low sugar fruits, you'll see these are the smaller ones. The bigger ones are fine, but you can get fat on eating 3-4 bananas a day or pineapple. And so the issue with those fruits is we used to work pretty hard to get at them, right? So Mother Nature gave you a lot back based on your effort to harvest whatever fruit was out there. So nowadays you just reach out, you grab a banana or 4 of them, and then you just eat away. So nothing wrong with the big ones, but there's a timing thing with the big ones, the big fruits. And you should probably aim to use these big fruits after you've expanded energy, after you've actually done a workout, you've sweat your butt off. Not so much doing just a walk around the neighborhood, but so in general, small fruits are better throughout the day to, normalize your blood sugar levels. Fat. These have been pointed towards being the enemy, right? They have been looked at as demons, and the logic says fat becomes fat, and only to find out that by putting low fats, that was another trick by the industry, is to paint fat as an enemy. Then people were hungry, people needed to fill their plates, so they went to carbs, and this creates addiction, and it creates a lot of illness. I mean, most of the illness on this planet is due to insulin resistance. So how you get away from this is to eat fat. So there's a phrase out there right now, the fat is back. Of course it's back because we're realizing that fat is essential for brain function. 70% of your brain is fat. Fat is essential to your hormones. So I mean, female or male, which they have hormones all over the place. They have PMS, major symptoms, or guys that have depressed testosterone level. You need cholesterol for all of this. Your heart needs a lot of fat. Fat is not the enemy. As far as I'm concerned, the more fat you take, the less you'll be tempted toward carbs and wheat and flour and pasta and all that stuff, right? And then dairy, you can keep a place in your daily schedule for dairy, but keep in mind just to put the pedal on the brake, press the brake a bit, because again, this is an anomaly from Mother Nature. You don't want to eat or drink the milk of another animal as much as possible. I'd say you can keep Greek yogurt in there and some of the low-fat cheese options in moderation. And then the last 2 are grains and legumes. Again, these are, as you'll see in the next slides, these are anomalies. We're not supposed to eat these things, and Mother Nature never intended for us to eat that. This is actually a grain, and what we like in our bread and pasta is this part there, right? So this is really the germ. This is what helps reproduce the plant, and this is really the outside, the bran. This is it's a harder substance, and most of the manufacturer remove that because it's not as tasty, right? The bread is not as soft, and so on and so forth. So what happens there is that Mother Nature actually provided the plant with a defense system. The plant can't run away from a predator. The plant can't fight off a predator. So what does the plant do to survive and to reproduce itself? Mother Nature has a way to make things pretty fair, right? Whether you're a plant, a tree, or a tiger. In this case, the plant has had specific protein inserted in this area there, which is, for a lot of people, paradise. But some of these things are called gliadin. There's hundreds of protein that we haven't really studied in depth so far, but the sole purpose of these protein is to affect digestion. It's to repulse predators, because if you eat that, predators don't feel good, they get the bloated digestion, and then the actual grain can actually survive the whole digestion and still perform its design function, which is reproduce the plant. because it's not well digested. So what we see there as bread and fiesta, and you bring all the goodies at the parties and all that stuff, is actually a system that Mother Nature invented to make sure you keep away as much as possible. And that's why we see all the issues with insulin resistance, diabetes. I mean, type 3 diabetes is Alzheimer's, right? So all of this consumption of overconsumption of carb, grains, actually affects your gut, actually affects your immune system, and then we see tons of new illness, debilitating conditions, mentally, physically, emotionally, because we're actually eating something that we're not supposed to eat to begin with. So the next time you see your piece of bread, it looks pretty harmless in your plate, think about this principle that we're not supposed to eat that stuff. I would say, though, with a caveat, just keep a few slices in your week, but keep in moderation. This is something you should keep away. And the less, or some of the grains that are better than others, is quinoa, wild rice, and potatoes, which are not really grains. Don't measure and weight your food. It's all about ratio. And I explain what are good fats, what are good carbohydrates. I explain what are a good source of protein. Your body is actually an amazing machine that's evolved over trillions of years, and it has a pretty good control system through various hormones to tell you when you're full. If you eat chips, if you eat granola bars, if you eat sugar, refined sugars and pastries, of course, this control system can't tell you when you're full. The sugar and all of those other things are actually designed to affect that signal. And we used to find sugar in Mother Nature. That was a survival instinct. We used to jump in there, eat sugar like crazy, because then we would make fat, but we would be like 1 week without eating afterwards. So it had a design purpose to like sugar and to jump into sugar. Same system applies today, although we don't have any week where we don't eat, right? So that creates some grease. Point I want to make across here is you can't overeat the good stuff. Nobody overeats salmon. Nobody overeats, horse meat. Nobody overeats butter, coconut oil, eggs, avocado. Get the point? If you separate your plate as follow in those sort of ratio, you can play around with this a bit. Half your plate should be veggies and small fruits, mostly veggies. A quarter to a third of the plate protein, and leave a space in your plate for healthy fats. And again, the more fat you take, the more you drive away from carbs, which are really the enemy. So that's something to keep in mind. You just have confidence in your ability to know when you had enough. Wait 15 minutes when you eat to really assess if you're full or not. But if you eat the right stuff, your body will tell you when it had enough. And lastly, just a slide to say that really your genes, this is what your code is in your cell. Epigenetics is the environment that you subject your gene to. They account for 92% of your predictive biomarkers. So your destiny as far as health, longevity, resistance to illness is 92% the environment to which you subject your genes to. It's not the genes itself. It's not your code. It's only 8% of your destiny, right? 92% of your destiny as far as health, longevity, and all that stuff is all about your choices. It's eating habits, it's rest, and it's movement. This is, again, a slide that tells you you are in complete control, and mostly in your kitchen, actually, in your choices. Lastly, I'll just stop there. There's a lot of recipe you'll find in the paperwork there that explains some of the breakfast ideas or snack ideas or lunch ideas and all that stuff that really support the philosophies that I just explained. You want to stay away as much as possible as carbs. If you are to eat carbs, use carbs timely after you've expanded large source of energies. Most of the time you want to keep the protein, healthy fats, a lot of veggies, a lot of color, and some small fruits as well. So you just can skim over some of the recipes there, and hopefully that kind of triggers a few ideas of your own. You can actually experiment, and that should be a pleasurable experience, because really the point to get across here is to eating healthy is actually tasty as well. So I hope this little recording is useful. If you have any questions, please fire away on the platform or to whoever showing you the video. I hope that was useful. Thanks, guys.